Hey guys, how are you tonight? I'm okay, I can hear myself. That's never a good thing. We try not to let me hear me. Oh good, cuz if I have to hear me, it wouldn't be well for all of us. Hey Ken, hey Sarah, hey therapist Thank you guys for coming tonight. I appreciate it. It's going to be kind of a heavy topic. Hey, just made it. Hey Fala. Glad you're here, darling. Oh, I was running late as usual. Haha. You know me. I usually am. But actually Thursday I did really good and was all ready and everything before, and then this week, well, needless to say, that didn't get to happen. I was late. But that's okay. I'm here. And you're here, so that's all we need. Okay, now I can see what Little Miss was talking about the other day. She made a comment to me about the thing blowing on the door.
Oh,
She thought I had someone hidden in the room. I told her that's her thing, not mine. I don't have to hide people. I don't keep them kidnapped. Doc came willingly. What can I say? He's one of the pets I brought home. I had a habit of bringing things home. Dogs, cats. Then I brought Doc. Mom let me keep him too. It was great. Oh, I'm glad you had a good weekend, Sarah. I hope everybody did. Yeah, sometimes, Kim, we don't need to be as productive. Sometimes we need a break just to chillax, That works for me. Oh, that's fine. I understand, Matt, being late. I was listening to JD too. I was trying to finish things up fast and I was listening and I was so excited because he was having a good show. You can always tell when you're really into a topic, it really shows up. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started because I want to welcome all my truth seekers back and my trial junkies. I'm Z, your host. And tonight we're going to go through this wilderness of injustice, through the darkness, mapping the twisted roads where predators hunt and justice fails. And we're going to see some big justice falling on its face. Hey, Krusty, my Dune brother. Glad to see ya. So, as always, I have my ride or die, Doc, with me. He's riding shotgun. Keep me straight.
hello.
If he can. But buckle up. It's going to be bumpy because we're going to go through a chamber of this house of horrors they call our justice system today. And it really is. So let's get started. Now, for those of you that don't know, this handsome man is going to be someone we're going to talk about because he's kind of helped start a movement. And so, it's awesome that he's got us examining a controversy in Buffalo, New York, where as a police detective, this is who he is, Richard High, better known as Angry Cop on YouTube. He has his own channel. He's on the Unsub podcast also. So he started a movement because he has over 730,000 followers as Angry Cop. And recently he went on the Unsubscribed podcast to talk about a school up there in Buffalo where the school officials are systematically suppressing reports of students that are endangered. Hey, William, I'm glad you're here, man. So think about that. Students are in danger. He is a detective that handles these kind of cases, and they're hiding them. Isn't that great? Just fabulous. But he said they include not only sexual assaults that have taken place, but there was an attempted abduction of two children. Two children. The school is attached to another building. And through this other building, they don't have it locked up. And so this guy, came through the door and he grabbed a little girl and a little boy. And, the kids got away, thank goodness. Let's just, right there. Thank goodness they were able to get away from the creep and they were able to run. And the thing that really bugs me, is that they never told the parents of these children. They did not take the time. Their children were almost kidnapped at school, but we're not going to tell anybody. And the little boy wet his pants because he was so terrified. How did they explain that to the parents? That's what I'd like to know, because if I go to pick up little Johnny and Johnny's had an accident, I'm going to wonder why, aren't you? This is your son. What happened? And so anyway, Rich told us this all started in February at the Dr. Charles R. Drew Magnet School, where he said the officials failed to report this attempted abduction, but there was actually video of it, you guys. And video of the abduction. But what happened, instead of preserving that information, thankfully, there was someone that was there as they were looking at the video, and they taped it on their phone so that they could turn it over to the district attorney's office. Otherwise, nobody would have known about it, you guys. It never would have even been a bump on a log. Nobody would have known. It wouldn't have happened. And so because they saw this, they went and checked it out, and they wanted to know what was happening. Well, the authorities were like, well, we don't have a video. And they're like, well, we've seen one. So the school personnel, they're mandatory reporters. And I think I have a very smart audience here. You guys know who are mandatory reporters. You have, nurses, doctors, school officials, whether it's a teacher or a principal, a janitor. Anyone working in that school should be reporting any abuse or neglect of a child. And so we will go to the next slide. Doc and I got to come up with a better system for this. I just don't think throwing something would be nice. So I sit here with my stress ball. Okay. Ken, don't ever assume someone else will do something when you see something going wrong. Correct. 100% I agree with that. Because they don't. And that's what we're going to find out. And the thing is, this requirement of mandatory reporters is to protect the children, so that they're safe. But the Buffalo Police Benevolent Society has come out and said they stand with Detective High, describing him as a passionate detective who prioritizes the well-being of city's most vulnerable victims. So they were thinking he was going to get in trouble because he went on the Unsub podcast with his friends, and he asked him if he could talk about something that was really bothering him. And so, he said, I know I could get in trouble with this. I could lose my job. But this is so important and it's been bugging me. I have to talk about it. And his friends were like, sure. And so he talked about it and it blew up. The media got a hold of this case, Then they interviewed him on the news, and they really did a hatchet job on Rich. It was sad. They took things from his past, like back in, I think it was like 2016 or something, when he had it was called Vines. I wasn't into social media at that time doing that, so I don't know about it, but he was doing Vines and he did silly stuff. And so they were making that the story. Can you believe that? That became the story. Let's see, William, you said, man, and I'm a substitute teacher. If I heard or saw something, I'd have a hard time using restraint. I know. Well, you'd use the restraint for your 3 girls. You can't do something that would get you in trouble, but you would report it and you would step in and help. I know you would do that because you're a good guy. And this lovely man on our screen up there, that is JD Delay. And JD Delay has taken up the flag for this because he is strongly invested in speaking out for children that have been abused. And I commend him for that. And he himself was an abuse victim as a child. So he's very strongly and firmly in that camp. And so as a creator, JD then called us to action the other night when he showed us a video that his lovely wife, Jax, came across. And Jax and JD have several children in their family, and a couple of them are autistic. And so this is going to be talking about an autistic child. And it really, you could tell it hurt Jax's heart when she talked about it, Doc. It just, this case got to her, and it got to JD too. But yeah, it was bad. Sarah, the worst he did was call someone fat boy. That was the only description he was given. That is the worst he's been reprimanded on. Don't call someone a fat boy. Okay, people.
Boy, that's awful.
Yeah, let's let child predators go, because like JD mentioned tonight in his live, he said that person that tried to kidnap those children, they're still out there hunting. You let a hunter go, because that's what that predator is, and he is looking for a victim. And so JD and Rich have really showed us and demonstrated how social media can be powerful tools for a call for justice and to find a way to help the children, because that's what's important here, is to help the children. We don't want people calling people names, because JD had when I go into this story, he'd asked us to call the school and leave messages this weekend that we would like to know why nothing was being done. But he told us to be respectful, and I agree with that. We needed to be respectful. We needed not to make any threats, because that's for children, and even children shouldn't do that, but they learn it from adults. So to act like responsible adults and call and say you're a concerned citizen and you would like to know why this is being handled so poorly. And so that's what a lot of us did. We had people that were in that chat that night from Canada that were calling. Everybody in that chat, I think, called, and it was awesome. So the trial junkies are on this case, and we're going to go into the dark corners of where the predators operate, and we're going to get them. We're not going to let them sit there. We're going to shine that light so bright on them. So who's responsible, and who knew what and when, and what can be done about it? And those are the questions we're going to be talking about. Okay. You guys, did I do good on the thumbnail? I thought that's one of my best thumbnails, even though it's, got cartoon characters. I thought it was a good thumbnail. Just had to point that out. Okay, back to our story. So let's go down this darkened path and see what's happening. Remember, the victims are the ones that count, okay? They're the most vulnerable in our society. This story, the first one, takes place in Huntersville, North Carolina. And it's horrid, you guys. It's in Blythe Elementary School, and it involves a 5-year-old little girl. She's nonverbal, and she's autistic. Her name's Journey, her mama said. Thank you, guys. I'm glad you appreciate my thumbnail. I'm trying really, really hard. Okay, yes, Jess, we will get Ken to stop you. Just remember, you have to see the candy before you get in the van, okay?
And remember, guys, I did tell Zane that she did a good job.
Yes, Doc did tell me, and I appreciate it. He always has my back. Okay, so here we go. So according to the police report, the child's mother, Elizabeth Zeminski, a staff member, was caught kissing Journey in the school bathroom on March 28th. A school staff member, and they made it a presumption that it was a teacher. But she is a 5-year-old autistic, nonverbal child. This case is going to break your heart. And her mother said that she can't tell her side of the story. She's never going to be able to tell. She can't defend herself. She can't speak up for herself. She said this inappropriate behavior came to light when another staff member witnessed it. So while this perv is in the bathroom with this poor child, hey, Matt, glad you made it, darling. While he's in the bathroom kissing this child, well, I don't even know if it's a him. They wouldn't even tell the sex. So just the perv was in there kissing a 5-year-old nonverbal girl. Another staff member walks in and they go and report it because they have common sense. And without that witness ever coming forward, we wouldn't have known, that this even happened. Okay. Okay, so even more disturbing, and this is Journey's mom, Elizabeth. Even more disturbing is that despite the behavioral change that was indicating something was wrong, because Journey started crying every morning before school. And before this had started to happen, you guys, her mom said she loved school. She couldn't wait to go to school. She was so excited about it. And now all of a sudden she cries every morning. So her mother said, we approached the school and we're like, something's concerning us. And the school just dismissed it. School officials just suggested the parents needed to do a better job of helping the kindergartner acclimate to their new school. Can you believe that, Doc? They're telling the parents, you just got to do a better job parenting. Ridiculous. So in a shocking development, the Huntersville Police Department, I found out, has dropped the case. And you might ask why. Well, because Journey cannot tell her side of the story. That's right. This devastating failure of the justice system leaves a vulnerable child without protection and her family without closure. So because she can't tell them what happened, they're going to drop it. And her mom said, I started crying because they said she can't tell her side of the story. And so the mom's like, why are you not thinking harder? Why are we not trying to figure out why she's having such a hard time attending school? Those are, I think, the words that she's, giving herself that, should she have done something, quit. It's not the mother's fault. The mother thought her child was safe. So we can't blame the mother in this at all. And when she didn't finally realize, hey, this is too much, this is going on too long, she did go to the school. And the school told her, just be a better parent. It's something you're doing. It's not something we're doing. So despite they do have an eyewitness, it's the other staff member. They don't need the child to speak. They have an eyewitness who reported inappropriate conduct. The law enforcement decided not to pursue the charges, leaving the family devastated and accused still employed at the school, merely removed from the classroom. So it says this is a glaring contradiction because the district attorney, when he ran, his thing was, the mission and, he was going to go out there and really be there for the victims and Spencer B. Merriweather III. We might have to write Mr. Spencer Merriweather III, who has served as the district attorney since 2017, has publicly stated his dedication to protecting the most vulnerable victims in our community. Who's more vulnerable than a 5-year-old autistic nonverbal child? Please, if someone's got a suggestion of who's more vulnerable than her, I'd like to know. So during his tenure as that chief prosecutor, he claims to have prioritized.
Thank
Thank you, Doc. The prosecution of dangerous offenses by establishing and later expanding the violent crime team. He even created a special victims team, supposedly a trauma-informed unit that works to seek justice for the victims of domestic violence, child abuse, sexual assault, and human trafficking. Well, Merriweather, you're not doing your job because you've got a victim there. Yet where is the proclaimed protection for Journey? You know, where is all this great thing that you're doing for your community? Where is it for Journey?
Cute, Rusty. Yeah.
Yeah, I would too. If I had boots on, but I don't. I'm not wearing my bike boots right now. I do have my biker boots, but I'm not wearing them. So, you know, where's that special victims team when a school staff member is kissing a nonverbal autistic 5-year-old in a bathroom? Or is that something y'all do over there? I mean, hey, if that's something North Carolina gets into, oh, well, a whole lot more people need to start thinking about it. Imagine being in a position where your child could experience immeasurable pain and not even be able to communicate the extent of it. You no matter how desperately they... I know, Ken.
Goodness.
That's what breaks my heart, because that little girl was trying. She was crying. She was having a fit probably, and she was trying to let them know. But they didn't, they thought she was adjusting to school. So the DA, who claims to be this champion of the vulnerable, he's allowing charges to be dropped. If the DA Merriweather's office is genuinely committed to trauma-informed approaches for victims of child abuse, then why aren't they pursuing this case with eyewitness testimony available? Now, I don't know if Journey, since she is nonverbal, I don't know if there's any counselors that work with autistic children, if they can do pictures. I don't know. And I mean, that would be something that, as the DA, he should know or be looking into to help this child. But they do have a witness that saw this. So, but they're not considering even the behavioral changes that she went through, the crying every morning, as supporting evidence of her trauma. Because I would think that would be part of it. It says, here you have the witness. They walk in, they see this. They go, they report it. I'm hoping they got the child away from the idiot, whoever was doing it. And then nothing. So it appears to be this justice system is failing her completely. They're reinforcing a system that protects the adults at the expense of a child who cannot advocate for themselves. The school issued this boilerplate statement claiming they take the safety and well-being of our students very seriously. No, you don't. You're a bunch of liars who have a full answering machine. And I forgot to write down that number. So if someone has it and you want to put that phone number in there, if anybody wants to call and just leave a, hey, what's going on with your school? That would be nice. And the National Autistic Society, I hope that they pick this up. I really do. Because, this is a child that needs people in her corner. But here they make this blank statement, but their actions, that's what's showing up. They did not remove Journey from the classroom after the incident. So here this fool is kissing this 5-year-old. She's upset. And they make her go sit in the classroom with them. They did not contact the police. The mother actually is the one that called the police. They only removed the staff member from the classroom, but not the school. So they sent her to another class, or him, or it. They sent it away. But that doesn't mean that Journey didn't have to see this person in the hallways. And they've hidden behind privacy laws rather than taking decisive action. Because we don't want to go out there and say that, what's going on, because they wouldn't even tell the parents who it was that was molesting their daughter, because that's what was happening. No 5-year-old can consent. That is molesting. You know, please. So, you know, this is why we do this. This is why we speak up for these children, because they need a voice. And she doesn't have one, but even if she was not nonverbal, she wouldn't have a voice because she's a little girl. And so that's why we do the podcasts. That's why I'm committed to it. Thursdays, you know, I'm committed to the missing and murdered Indigenous women and children, and even the men. But this speaking up for children is also a real big thing for me. So stay with us, truth seekers. These are just the stories that need telling, the voices that amplifying. The fight for justice is going to continue. We're going to keep telling some stories. So I know some of these stories are tough. If you need to take a step back because it's a little hard, you know, I understand. But please, they need to be told. And once you hear them, please encourage people to come back and listen to the podcast. Hit like, hit subscribe, you know, get people to come listen, because these stories need to be told. We need to do it as a community. Rich and JD don't know what they've started, but they've started something. So now we're going to shift gears and we're going to head to Blount County, Tennessee. Now, this is a small town making a lot of noise over a case that left parents furious and a community asking how justice could feel so hollow. And I actually have been chatting with a woman from that county. She was helping me with another case, and she told me I'm going to go down and, get online and protest. And I'm like, what you protesting? And so she told me. So here we go. The former gym teacher, Joseph Dalton, pleaded guilty to 5 counts of offensive touching misdemeanors involving students. And what did he get? No, wait, 6 months probation and no jail time. And thanks to the judicial diversion, his record could be wiped clean if he stays out of trouble, you guys. Wiped clean. So he wouldn't even be registered as a sex offender. Yeah. Let it sink in, because when that sunk in with me, I was mad. So last Friday, at least 24 protesters gathered outside the old Blount County courthouse, and they weren't just angry, they were devastated. I listened to one of the women talk that her daughter was one of these victims back in the day, because it gets better. So they waved signs, they got honks and support from cars passing by, and they called the sentence exactly what it felt like: a slap in the face to the victims. And that's what it was. It was a slap in the face.
I mean, he should be forever on the list.
Yeah.
I mean, yikes.
Yes. If you harm a child and you commit a crime like that, you need to be on the registry forever. I'm sorry if it makes your life tough. And there's that thing. Ugh. He's the perp. So Jean Jones was there. Her daughter Gracie said Dalton inappropriately touched her back in kindergarten in 2005. Her case wasn't part of this conviction, but Jean said the outcome feels like a repeat of the past being ignored again. Her husband Tommy said the system just swept it under the rug. She said her daughter wanted to be there for the protest, but she just couldn't handle it. And, she couldn't face it because of how traumatic it is. Once a child has been traumatized this way, they don't get over it. They may learn to function, and some may learn to build good lives, but that scar is there, you guys. It's just the same as if someone cut them with a knife. There is a scar. And it may heal, but it's always going to be there. And so this is the gut-wrenching part, is he had a pattern of reports of inappropriate behavior dating back for 20 years. 20 years. Well, Fala, I wore my shirt that says, I need a vacation, I need a coffee, I need a nap, I need duct tape, a shovel, and I can't remember the rest of it. But that's why I'm wearing my dragon today, because I felt like I might need to, flame somebody. And there's a few victims here that I could flame. Or not victims, but perps. You're right, Matt. Not all scars are visible, And that's the sad part. Again, I'm not a parent. Well, I'm not even a lawyer that does stuff in education, but I've got a niece who needs help and a sister who does work in the field. You all are noticed and so appreciated. Thank you, Ken. And you know what? It doesn't matter if we have our own children. We have nieces, we have nephews, we care for the little ones, and that's what happens. We have to be there for them. We have to be their voice. And so because Tennessee's law defines sexual battery as requiring contact with intimate parts, that's why these acts didn't meet the threshold. So the prosecutors went with the only option left, which was misdemeanor offensive touching. And so the DA, Ryan Desmond, spoke out, and he said he knew the charges and the sentence would seem weak, but the laws tied their hands. Well, I guess someone needs to be doing some law changing then. And in his words, doing nothing was not an option, so they at least charged him with what they could. And he supports changes to the law, but right now his office can only work with what's written. I like that sign someone wrote. It said, "We the people are fed up." So parents like Corey Lockett and advocate like Danielle Gayer say that the school system was the absolute failure and they're not staying quiet anymore. And that's what we hope is going to happen up there in the other school. Get the parents involved because they need to speak up. And if you want change and fast, the protesters have already started reaching out to lawmakers. They're demanding stronger laws and harshest penalties for school abuse. The county commissioner, Jared Anderson, is backing them. He posted a resolution calling on Tennessee legislature to rewrite the laws so that touching a child inappropriately, especially by someone in a position of trust, isn't just a misdemeanor. In his words, 6 months probation is sickening. And it is. The mayor, Ed Mitchell, even met with the protesters, echoing their calls for reform. So what happens next? Well, that's on the lawmakers and the people that are going to get them going in action, I guess. They're going to have to scream loud, and that's why we're going to tell these stories. But one thing for sure, the people of Blount County aren't letting this go. Now we're going to take a trip to Canada, and the true horror of this case lies not just in Paul Goodman's actions, but in the devastating aftermath of what happens. And this little sicko from the north, we love Canada. We love all of our Canadian viewers when they come by. But this is a sicko from the north, and I don't think they even want him anymore. But this 5-year-old girl already faces the challenges of autism, and she was nonverbal. Are you starting to see a theme here? Now carries wounds invisible to the eye, but painfully evident in her behavior. She would scream when we took her to the bathroom, her father revealed in his victim's impact statement. Bath time, which she once loved, was a struggle, and she didn't want to be washed. Today, at 8 years old, she still isn't potty trained. The bathroom, a place most children navigate with increasing independence, remains a terror for her. So they've developmentally challenged her. Without words to express what happened to her, it speaks the fear that radiates off that child. Her father's anguish echoes what many families of abuse victims experience. We all knew something had happened. That terrible intuition parents have when they know their child is suffering, but the child can't tell them why. The sentence handed down raises profound questions about how our justice system values the most vulnerable citizens. Because 4 years in prison with credit for time served for someone who deliberately targeted a child who couldn't defend herself or communicate what happened. The girl's father, why doesn't the system have stricter rules to guard against monsters like you? What makes this case particularly disturbing is his calculated approach. The court documents reveal he deliberately chose not to follow protocols so he could be alone with the child who couldn't report his actions. The Crown prosecutor noted that the victim literally was not able to tell others what happened. More alarming still is his history. He worked in education for 6 years and has been involved with the Scouts in Canada since 2000, primarily as a Scout leader. I had little brothers in the Scouts, and that makes me ill. Despite what the Crown called a big risk to children, he continued to pursue careers giving him access to young people. While his defense cited mental health issues and efforts to rehabilitate, my foot, he wasn't trying to be rehabilitated. The sentence feels woefully inadequate against the permanent trauma inflicted on this child. As Justice Brown himself acknowledged, child pornography is something that just doesn't go away. Because that's what he was also doing with this child. He was making porn. Whoops, corn. They get so upset when you say that word. I'm sorry. You know what? People, it's out there. When we try and make it sound like food or a fruit salad, I can remember when YouTube first instituted these rules. I am a huge fan of Stephanie Harlow. So if you've never watched Stephanie, please check her out. She does research like nobody does. She is awesome. But Stephanie was trying to follow the guidelines. And so she was trying to come up with words. And by the time she got done with this one podcast, she said it sounded like I'm making a fruit salad. Because that's, like, oh my, got a fruit salad going here. But these images continue to re-victimize children, causing them to suffer from significant trauma long after the initial abuse. So this little girl, the nightmare continues in bath time struggles, bath time fears, countless other ways trauma manifests in a young life. Meanwhile, the man responsible will likely walk free in less than 4 years. Doesn't that just make you feel yummy? Ugh. That is just so wrong. He should never get out, and he should definitely be on the registry.
Wait a minute. So how old was she when this happened?
She was 5. So it was 3 years ago.
So
she's 8
she's not
now.
even going to be 10?
No. And this monster has ruined her life. So if anybody has any autistic family members, if you have any that are nonverbal, hold them close. Check out everybody. You know what? Start doing security checks of everybody in the school that comes in contact with your child, and do not feel bad about it. I mean, something has to be done. We have to protect them. They can't protect themselves. I mean, really, if you could put a small camera on them, I would do that. I mean, that's just how sensible I can be. I understand, William. And there is a lot of darkness tonight, and I'm sorry about that. Sarah, your oldest granddaughter's nonverbal? Yeah. She's got a great grandma who's going to really watch her, and let's get her protected and let your daughter know. We got to make sure that we're on top of it. You know, sadly, you need to check out anybody that works in a babysitting facility, a daycare, a school, anything like that, because they can't just be put in there and nobody knows what's going on, because those children can't tell us. So the father's description of Goodman was as a monster who selected a vulnerable, innocent child to abuse stands in stark contrast to the relatively brief sentence imposed. It raises the question of whether our justice system truly recognizes the lifetime sentences victims carry with them, because they do. Some of them never get over it. Some of them never go on to lead, a normal or better life because they can't get over the scars. Some are able to pull it together. Some fall into abusive relationships. They fall into addictions, whether it be alcohol, drugs, whatever. But they're scarred for life. And yet these pervs, they get to walk away one day. And none of these people that do this kind of thing do it one time. I mean, we've had 2 cases where they said it was years that they have been doing this, okay? Years. So when people say, oh, it was just an incident, or I didn't mean, yeah, no. You have those tendencies. You're not fit to be around children. Ever. Ever. So now we're going to go to Chicago. And this family actually is taking legal action. And this is against the Chicago Public Schools. They have a 15-year-old son with disabilities. And he was allegedly essayed at Sullivan High School. And on January 30th, as he was in the bathroom, I swear they need to put cameras in the bathroom. According to the attorney, Casper, what a name, attorney Casper, the student who's in the 10th grade, virtually nonverbal. Here we go again. We're seeing a theme here, and I do not like it. With conditions including ADHD and autism. The lawsuit emphasizes that the victim had an individual education plan, which is called an IEP up in Chicago, which actually requires an adult to be with them at all times due to his disability, okay? He's supposed to have someone follow him around. And it's not similar, but I had a friend that became a deaf interpreter. And so I remember she had to follow a girl around high school, and so when they have someone that is in their charge, they're supposed to take this seriously. I wish you had that thing in Men in Black 2, Matt. I liked that thing. Yeah, I like that movie, and I like the flashy thing. So despite this requirement, he was allowed to walk alone from his classroom to the bathroom, and that's where this assault took place. Okay? Black. Well, someone needs to invent one. I'm not smart enough. So
somehow the stream got dropped. Hold on. We're bringing it back up right now.
Okay. We're back. Something happened.
Okay. Huh.
Technical something or other. That's as far as I am with, the back end of this podcast. That's why we got Doc riding shotgun, because we don't trust me. So the lawsuit names multiple defendants, including the Chicago Board of Education, the assistant principal, John Roseboom, homeroom teacher, Deidre Denault, and an unnamed adult who allegedly discouraged the victim from reporting the assault. So what happened was they said that an adult went in there, saw what happened, and all they did was help clean the kid up and told him not to tell anybody. Well, he was nonverbal, so he wasn't going to tell anybody. And yes, we do have Comcast Vala. But our Comcast usually does pretty well. So who knows? This unnamed staff member reportedly helped clean him up, sent him on his way. So according to the attorney, Casper, when the family reported the assault to the school the very next day, they were faced with obstacles. They had to come into the school themselves. They had to demand to see the principal, which they were denied. He wouldn't face them. The assistant principal initially denied the assault took place, but said he would investigate. The family reportedly received no further information from the school about the incident. The family has removed their son from the school and put him somewhere else, and I don't blame them. This teen was out of school for over 2 months because he was afraid to go to school, the poor child. And the thing is, if he did it to this kid, who else has that little mongrel done something to? Come on. Someone's raising a mongrel. And I love it. While the district can't comment on any pending or ongoing litigation, we take it seriously. Sure you do. You're going to police yourself. I love that. Okay, Matt's going to the CIA warehouse to look for a flashy thing. Well, if you find it, let us know. JD will want one. I'll want one. Rich will want one. You're going to be passing them out. So you'll be making a lot of them. Get ready for that. So now this young man's attending another school. The young girl in the picture is his sister. She wanted to speak out because she was really upset, and I don't blame her. The lawsuit claimed that the victim is so frightened even to walk down the street. He has extreme emotional distress as a result of this assault. Well, you know what they say, Dune? They say when you ask a friend to go with you, if it's a real friend, all they'll ask you is which car you're taking. They won't care what's going to happen. Just which car are we going to drive? There's a great thing on Instagram on that. I'll have to find it for you and send it to you, Dune. So the lawsuit also claimed, in a statement, they said that they're investigating and that any other details remain confidential. Of course they do. They also said they prioritize. How many times did I put that word in here tonight? And take seriously its responsibility to ensure the safety and security and well-being of all students. No, you don't. You're liars. We'll call you out. You're liars. This lawsuit comes as CPS faces significant legal challenges related to student safety. In February of 2025, the Chicago Board of Education approved nearly $4 million in legal settlements, including an $800,000 settlement for an SA case filed in 2023. Excuse me. Night, Krusty. So the school SA lawsuits can be brought against educational institutions for failing to prevent abuse, with settlements often reaching significant amounts. And I mean, but you think $800,000 is going to get rid of the memories and the scars and the fear? I don't think so. But in one recent Illinois case, a school district paid $950,000 to settle a case involving a kindergarten teacher who allegedly essayed a student. Oh, Lord. Leave the kindergartners alone, you pervs. The victim's sister, speaking anonymously to protect her brother's identity, emphasized the importance of awareness and advocacy. She said, "My main message is for people to be more aware of their children. If they see any signs from their children, they are aware of their children and will advocate for them. They need a voice to advocate for them." According to attorney Casper, this lawsuit aims to make systematic changes to prevent similar incidents in the future. Because the kid had an IEP, he was supposed to have an adult walk him to everywhere. He wasn't to be left alone, but they left him alone. He questioned, whoops, I gotta change my alarm.
Yeah.
He questioned, why is that culture of I can't speak now. Where the schools are allowed to not say. It said they must make changes to ensure that students who require full-time aides are not left alone. The case highlights the critical importance of proper supervision for the vulnerable students and raises serious questions about institutional accountability when protective measures fail. You know, because if your job is to protect the students. You know, if there's a tornado, you're supposed to protect the students, right? You're supposed to have a plan. If there's a fire, you do fire drills. This is someone evil that's coming to your school. Why are you not doing better background checks? So our focus is and must remain on supporting all children and families, especially those impacted by Trent Muse. Okay, we're going to talk Trent Muse, Trinity Valley spokesman. This is another school here in Fort Worth, Texas. And this is a very prestigious school, you guys. Very prestigious. It's a religious school. You have to pay a lot of money to get your kids in there. This guy was a piano teacher. And from 2000, and I think it was 22 to 2023, it was like an 8-month period, he was allowed to have these girls from age 6 to 11 taking lessons. And he was kind of off in an area that was isolated. And there wasn't anybody that was really watching what was going on. And so their attorney, because they filed a lawsuit, Natalie Abram, who represents a lot of the girls, contends that the school should have known about the abuse and didn't have the right protocols in place. And sorry, Moo's over there sleeping. I actually have part of the lawsuit. Well, I have the lawsuit, but I was going to highlight this, which I should have. Okay, got to take the glasses off because I have to look at it really close. Okay, where am I? Page 3. It says, okay, 1 year after his, the parents, when they found out what he had done, when 1 or 2 parents found out and they advised the other parents, they got a warning from the school not to talk about it. Yeah. So you harm my child and I put it out there that something's going on, and then you're going to try and come down and tell me I don't have the right? Oh, no, you did not. You did not. They said these little girls were being dragged from the class crying. They didn't want to go with him. In fact, one little girl here, it said she fought him and she drew blood. I like that child. She drew blood on him because she wasn't going to have any of his nonsense. He was exposing himself. He was trying to get them to, interact with him. And, these poor little girls were terrified. And they wanted nothing to do with this man. And so when they finally went ahead and got him fired, because, of course, he got caught, they, instead of telling the parents, we've taken care of this, they told them that he had gone somewhere else. He was fired in April of 2023, and they didn't reveal the reason. They said it was personal reasons. He left. But they encouraged the families to continue lessons with him off campus. That there was no cause for concern. Lawsuit. Because you put children in jeopardy. You literally told them that this idiot was okay to be around little girls. And see, this is where I have a problem sometime with these schools that are attached to religious organizations, because we have seen how the religious organizations handle their sexual assault cases. They get the SAM insurance now, which is the insurance that will protect them if they have to pay out to a victim. Of course, it doesn't protect the victim in any way, because they don't usually even get enough money for therapy, and the lifetime scars that they're going to have. But, you just wonder, are these churches or these school churches, are they doing the same thing, getting the SAM insurance? And that needs to be investigated, because it's not like, hey, I might have a fire. I need fire insurance. This is, I might commit a crime. Are we next going to get first-degree murder insurance? I mean, come on. Why not? Because, we might accidentally murder someone. I mean, that's really where the reasoning goes, at least for me. It's like because the one thing is what they call, what is it? An act of nature? Is that what they call a storm? Like a hurricane or fire. That is an act of nature. Natural disaster. You have no control over that. But insurance for sexual assaults? Oh, please, no. You know what, William? I did not look into that, but I would not even doubt it if they did. Because I know they're selling it to preachers and to churches. So why wouldn't they sell it to teachers? But this attorney, she didn't mince her words. She said they took steps to hide this for financial and reputational reasons. And they said the abuse occurred primarily in a small secluded classroom on campus where Muse was left unmonitored, unsupervised, and alone with children. He was allowed to teach them for hours with nobody around. And so the school did not inform the parents. In July, when the case came under investigation, I think a lot of parents found out then. Because sadly, when children are being groomed, a lot of times they are told not to tell anybody. That's one of the first things they tell them. Don't tell them about our private time. It's like, well, what private time? Let me see here. SAM insurance for teachers and schools. Let's see if that is a thing.
So,
yep.
Administrators, yeah.
SAM insurance, or sexual abuse and molestation insurance, is crucial for schools and teachers to protect against claims of SA or molestation. It is typical a liability insurance that covers the legal defense costs, settlements, and other damages associated with such clients. If you have a teacher or a school that is getting this insurance, I would have a problem. And I think more people need to be asking their churches, their teachers, their schools. I would be asking the school board, I want to see the insurance payments. I want to see what insurance you're covered with. I think parents have a right to that. Because if you are not actually doing background checks, or when the signs come out that something is wrong with children and you're just overlooking it, yeah. That needs to stop. So sadly, William, you're right. And whoever came up with that, I have a problem with that person, because you're getting insurance for a criminal act.
Is this?
Let me see here. It said some parent. Oh no, I had the same picture. Back? No, you're fine.
All right.
Some parents have removed their children from the school. I don't blame them. Jeffrey Snyder. Oh, he was one of the administrators, you guys. You're going to love this dude. He's filed a lawsuit because he was the school's assistant head since 2021. And it appears he's more focused on his career and reputation because he said that the school's failures to protect children or his role in potentially misleading families, the lawsuit centers instead on the situation, how it's infected his employment. His employment. His complaint claims that board actions made his possible untenable and has forced him to seek work elsewhere. So he still is on the payroll, but he's saying that he's looking for out-of-state jobs at a lower rate. Well, yeah, because you were in charge of a school and were letting perps in. Night, fella. I love you too, darling. You get some sleep. I know you get up awful early. Cresty stopped going to the church because they have Santa. I don't blame you. If the church or the school, I mean, this is something we got to check out. Let's go. What do we got next?
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
How's this?
I don't know, Doc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same picture?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of pictures for this case.
All right.
So the attorney said that the victims are really having a hard time. Some of them are having serious behavioral problems, academic performances, issues including refusing to hug their fathers. They're acting out at school. Art Airbrom described the abuse as it's everything from exposing himself to, pleasuring himself in front of girls, trying to have them participate. The lawsuit details how he was allowed to, operate in seclusion, and he attempted to silence anyone who tried to dig into Muse's misconduct. He threatened other teachers. So this Snyder, who was the assistant, whatever, he was threatening other teachers if they discussed the matter with parents. So instead of mandatory reporting like you're supposed to, they were hiding it. And so that guy's only out for himself, and he thinks he's going to win a lawsuit. I don't think so. I have a feeling that the attorneys will go after him. It said when the parents did finally confront the school in May of 2024, the pattern of deflecting just kept going, In June of 2024, he was arrested and later indicted on 5 counts of indecency with a child. Only after the arrest did the school launch a third-party investigation. After his arrest. So this had been going on from 2022 to 2023. But in June of 2024, they decided to have an investigation. He's currently out on a $40,000 bond, and his next court appearance was in April of this year, I think. But I couldn't find any current information. But he's not the first one from Trinity Valley, the school that's got in trouble. And that's what makes me really suspicious of this school. And it's one of the most expensive schools in the area. And it's like, I think a lot of parents need to hear about this. But on March 28th of 2025, the parents of former Trinity Valley students dropped a legal bombshell by doing a lawsuit on a cover-up of 12 years for this teacher. And it's the middle school teacher and coach, Todd A. Hargrove, as the alleged abuser. And he preyed on students from 2008 to 2020. And that's over a decade of alleged misconduct. They say the school knew about it, and they just didn't do anything. And it said that when he resigned in 2023. So he resigned. They didn't even fire him in 2023. Oh, Lord. It says, I'm quoting from court documents here. They concealed from students and parents that Hargrove was a dangerous sexual predator and that posed a high risk and danger to minor female students. Trinity Valley School has acknowledged the lawsuit, but they take all allegations of misconduct involving our students seriously. But they haven't addressed them. So that just, there's more questions there of how they have failed these young women and how many other, institutions, are going to be put in this position. But one of the things, let's see, this talks about grooming and how they do that. With this case, it really makes you think, how are they going to fix it? They need to do so. Everybody in that school needs to be fired. Everybody on the school board needs to be fired. The administrations fight over their reputation and careers. The children and families continue to deal with the lasting trauma. Special education teachers are abusing their students. We've talked about, vulnerable children being targeted tonight. One thing they talked about, I don't know if I put it in here because toward the end I was running late, as we all know. But they talked about, it's called, what was the term now? That's going to drive me crazy. Let me quick find that because it was interesting. It was talking about, it was talking about how they pass people. Oh, passing the trash. That's what it's called. When a school will have someone who is an offender like this, and instead of firing them, they let them go or they let them quit, and then they go on to another district or maybe out of state, right? They call it passing the trash. So instead of warning other schools.
Yeah, but do they give them a raving review?
Some of them do.
Sheesh.
That's what here in Texas, the police departments used to do that where they called them wandering cops. So like you have a cop in one area that's really bad or has done something. And so you tell him, you've got to move on. I'll give you a favorable review, but you got to go somewhere else. Well, Texas finally passed a bill to stop that. They've actually set up a database so these wandering cops don't keep wandering and causing more conflict. And I think that's what they need to do with these predators. They need to set up a system, and it needs to be national, you guys. It needs to be national. These people need their name in a registry. Yeah, Pammy, it's Fort Worth. That's where that Trinity Valley is. So these are two huge cases that have come out of that area. And I don't know if a lot of the parents even know, but they need to know. It needs to be talked about. And that's why we're talking about it today. So, we're wondering, can punishment truly address the damage of what's happened to some of these children? The little girl in Canada, no, that poor child, she's scarred for life. And it breaks your heart because there are other cases I could have gone over that, we've got so many female teachers these days. I don't know what is wrong with them. I guess they're just as pervy. But it just seemed like the ones I kept picking out were the ones that they were children that were nonverbal and were in situations that weren't good. So, what do you guys think about the allegations? Have you witnessed anything similar in your community? Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments. It helps if you guys leave a comment because then more people will see stuff. I don't know, it has something to do with algorithms. I do good just putting the stories together, you guys. And trying to do my thumbnails. But, together we can make a difference. But now we're going to do our 2 missing cases before I let you go tonight, because we got to let the murdered and missing Indigenous women and children and men know that they're not forgotten. Tomorrow, May 5th through May 9th, is actually MMIW Awareness Week. Please wear red in honor of them and for their families. Let's see. Well, this is the chat, William. The comments will come out, and it'll be sometime tomorrow because it doesn't publish right away. So when it publishes, then people can come back and leave a comment in the comment section like a regular video. Because I choose to do live stream. I like interacting with all you guys because I love y'all. Sarah, I'm sorry, baby girl. I know this was hard on you because you have your babies that you love so dearly. And that's why I love you, because you're a great advocate for them. And we need to find ways to protect them, Sarah. And we're going to do that. Oh, Dune, I'm sorry. I didn't know one of your nieces was nonverbal too. Keep an eye out. I know you'll wear red, but please, people, wear red. Our first one, her name was Hoi Kai Wu, is 35 years old. She was 5'3". She weighs approximately 125 and has brown hair, brown eyes. She was last seen on Friday, April 18th of 2025, before being reported missing on Saturday. Now, this is down in Arizona. On April 19th, her car was found at Windy Point on Mount Lemmon on Sunday, April 20th. And they think that she was wearing a black shirt and pajama pants. And the sheriff, they really, for once, Sheriff Nanos, he's really worked this case. They don't think it's foul play. I kind of don't know why, but they said that, they're not ruling out that maybe she came across some criminals. But the search, it's really rough terrain, you guys. So they've had the Forest Service, the DPS Rangers, the Southern Arizona Rescue Association, SAR, with search dogs. They've had drones. I mean, they have gone all out, and they searched for 6 solid days for this young woman. She's only 35. And they haven't found her yet. And sorry, I forgot to put her picture up. Anyway, but she's married. Her husband's been cooperative and trying to help any way he can. This is Savannah Standing Bear. And actually, yesterday and today, they had another search for her. She has been missing since March 24th. She is 22 years old. She's from the Rosebud, South Dakota reservation. She's 5'5", 140 pounds. She has brown eyes, well, I guess her hair's kind of got a red tint because us ladies, we like to play with it. Her distinguished features, she has a tattoo that says loyalty on her neck. And she was last seen at Carmel, South Dakota. She was wearing a black shirt, distressed jeans, and white Nike shoes. She had told her mom she was going to go out for the evening on March 24th, and she hasn't been seen since. Her mom said this goes against everything that she is. She always stays in contact with either her or her other daughter. She's very close to Savannah, so it's not like a situation where, I got mad at my mom and I went off and doing something crazy. This is a young lady that's very close to her mother. And so, her family, like I said, they had a huge 2-day search. It was interesting. They asked all the searchers that came out, do not wear perfume and do not wear deodorant, because they were going to have search dogs. And they said, you don't want to mess with their scent. They also asked people to leave children at home because of the fact that they said the dogs need to work. And when the children are around, some of the dogs want to play, as dogs will. So very important, keep an eye out. I'll have to put another picture of the other girl up on another note. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I thought I had put her picture. I was trying to hurry, you guys. I was running out of time. And I know that was all my fault. But anywho, so that's our cases for tonight. These are our 2 missing women that we're trying to find. I'm hoping we find them. I'm hoping we get some answers for these children. If, you see something, we got to say something. Because if you know anyone that has family members that are nonverbal, let's make sure that we're letting them know, advise them to please check out the chat. Also, if they don't want to check out the chat, at least tell them about it. Let them know we need to do something to protect these kids because it's not their fault. These poor little kids, they're the victims. They're the ones that they can't fight against adults like this. But I love each and every one of you for coming tonight. I know we did a dark subject. I try to be as light as I can when we're talking about them, but they are what they are. But the story's got to be told, and that's why we're here to tell them, because they can't. So we're going to wear red this week. I actually have No More Stolen Sisters t-shirt coming, and I think it's down at the mailbox, so I'll probably have that on tomorrow. And
Thursday night.
Yeah, I'll be wearing it Thursday night for sure. So we're gonna watch red or wear red. So I love you all for coming. Please subscribe, like, do all that fancy stuff that we're all supposed to do that I don't understand anything all about it. It has something to do with these number things. But, we just want to get more people seeing the videos so we can get more justice for these victims. So remember, every killer counts, or every perp counts on us being silent. Don't be the reason that we're telling another story on this channel. If you know something, say something. It was never a mannequin. It never is. So next time, stay informed. Stay curious. Question things. And stay compassionate, people, because you all are. You're a great group of people. You're right, Krusty. We are their voice, so they're not going to be voiceless. Thank you, and you guys have a lovely evening, and I hope your week is good, and we'll see you later. I do have one quick thing. I have a friend that wants to, she has a channel, and she wants to do a podcast someday. Are nights better or afternoons? I'm thinking of a weekend, or is it during the week? You guys think about it tomorrow. Leave me a comment in the comments after we post this, after it gets published. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. I really would. I love you guys. Matt, Krusty, William, Pammy, Sarah, Bala, therapist, all of you guys that came. I appreciate it. And we're slowly building our community, but we're going to get there. We'll probably never be as big as JD's community because he's a lot more charming than I am. But anyway, we love him. And you guys all have a good night. Stay compassionate. Night.